Hello lovely bookworms, I'm Esmay from Paradise of Pages on Instagram and welcome to a new video. Today I'll be talking about standalones, some of them that I love, some of them that I found disappointing, or some of them that I thought were mediocre. And without further ado, let's get into it. The first book that I want to talk about is not necessarily a standalone, but it still feels like a standalone story for me. The book that I am talking about is The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. This is not a true standalone. It does stand in itself as a story because it contains all kinds of short stories ranging from a length of a few pages or 30 or 40 pages, and I thought that this was really good. I read Shadow and Bone trilogy first, and then I read Six of Crows duology, and this one I read last, and I absolutely love this one. If you like short stories, I can really recommend picking this book up. It is also not too big, so that allows you to go through it quite easily, and also this book has beautiful illustrations in them. I'm pretty sure you've already seen it float around. It's just, if you haven't read it yet, go ahead, you'll love it. The next standalone that I want to talk about was one that really disappointed me. I was so excited for this book, but it just did not deliver at all. And the book that I'm talking about is An Enchantment of Ravens. I was so hyped for this book. This book is absolutely beautiful. I love the cover, but when I got into the story, at first I didn't really feel connected. Characters are not bad, don't get me wrong. I kind of like the characters. They were okay. I think that's what sort of made the story okay, in my opinion. What really lacked was the plot. There was just nothing happening. In the amount of time that you read, I think the book is 300 or so pages, nothing really happens. And I think that if this book would have been longer, or duology even, would have had more room to actually put in plot points, because that is what this book was lacking. I do think that it was quite an okay book. However, I don't recommend you reading it because there are a lot better standalones that I'm going to mention today. This book that I will be mentioning is one that really surprised me. I thought that it would be okay and that I would like it. However, I was really surprised by how good it is, and that is The Forbidden Wish by Jessica Corey. This is a genie / Aladdin retelling. However, the genie in this story is a girl, and her lamp is found by Aladdin, and from there on the story progresses. I really loved the magic in this book, and I loved the backstory of the genie, where it came from. There was all kinds of strife and war and conflict and politics, and for a book that is not so big, it was just so good. Besides, I really love the cover, and I'm really obsessed with it. It was so good, and if you like Aladdin, I recommend you picking this one up. The next two books that I want to mention are by the same author, namely Rosamund Hodge. And the two that I want to talk about are Cruel Beauty and Crimson Bound. I absolutely loved both of them, but I do have to say that Cruel Beauty was my favorite. Cruel Beauty is some kind of Beauty and the Beast retelling. It is very twisted, it's very hard to explain, so I'm not going to try because I cannot explain books to save my own life. However, it was really good. The plot twists were so intricate and so well written that I did not see them coming. 2, didn't think that it would end up going that way. I thought it would go complete 180 the other way. And the characters, they're just so good. This is also the same for Crimson Bound. I really liked this book. It was not as good as Cruel Beauty, but the characters were amazing. The plot was really good. It was a little more predictable than Cruel Beauty was, but it was just so good, and I love these two so much. Another thing that really adds is that you can sort of fly through them. I read them so fast, and I really love them. I recommend you pick them up. Then I want to talk about another book that kind of disappointed me, and that was Daughter of the Burning City. Daughter of the Burning City. I was so hyped to go into this book. Everybody seemed to really love it at the moment that I went into the book. However, I cannot say the same. to an extent. I really love the beginning of the book, or well, most of the book. I think 75% for me was absolutely brilliant. And then the biggest plot twist in the book, if you've read the book, you know what I mean, comes around 75%, and that ruins the entire book for me. It's just, this plot twist is just so weird to me, and I just could not be on board with it. And because of that, I was really disappointed in how it ended. I really love the premise of it. I really love the world. I love the atmosphere. I love the thrill in it. And it was a really good book up until that plot twist, which really disappointed me, and I found that really sad. The last book that I want to mention, I think, is my most enjoyed standalone out of all of them. It is a retelling, and it is very close to my heart, and that is Reflection by Elizabeth Lim. For those of you who don't know yet, if you know me personally, you know this. Mulan is my favorite Disney movie, maybe even my favorite movie of all time. When I heard about this book, I knew that I needed to read it as soon as it came out, which I did. What this book is about, it is about Mulan, but it is a twisted tale. So the moment that they are attacked by the Huns, Shang dies. So Mulan goes into the underworld to try and save him, and that is what this story is about. I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars, I can tell you this. It was brilliant. I absolutely loved it. The thing about this book that I didn't like, though, was that Mushu wasn't really in it. But other than that, I enjoyed every single second of it. If I can recommend only one book from this entire list, it is this one. It is just so good. I love it, and it's so close to my heart, and I will forever treasure this book. I lied when I said that Reflection was my last book. I have one more book, and that one is Beyond a Darkened Shore by Jessica Leake. I read this one, the most recent out of all of them, and I really liked it. Quite liked it, I have to say. However, I thought that some actions were kind of cliche, some things were a little bit overdone, the plot was a little bit too packed with action. I really do love action, but it's just a little too much, and at some points it was really slow. I do really love the characters, which is something that this book has going for itself, but it was not my favorite. However, I do still recommend it because it's a very fast read, and it is very enjoyable. Just don't expect a Stranger Dreamer book. Those were all the standalones that I wanted to mention. I might do an updated one if I read more standalones somewhere later, or I figure out that I forgot a lot of them, which is probably the case. But for now, these are the ones that I wanted to mention. I want to thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, comment down below and tell me what your favorite standalone is. Do you have a favorite? Are any of these books on your TBR? All that kind of good stuff. Please like this video and subscribe. I think it is on this side. You can also press that little bell icon so you get post notifications every single time me or Femke post, or when we post together again. And that is everything for today, and I'll see you guys the next time. Bye!